Okay, we'll get started because I have 9:04. Patrick's on his way, and I'm sure you have a bazillion things to do since we've been gone for a bazillion days. So, good morning and happy last week of November. And no, this is not going to work. We'll go by clicking. There we go. So, I thought we could try to keep the thankfulness theme or the thankfulness idea going. And I know that thankfulness is always on everyone's mind during Thanksgiving, and it's generally easier to be thankful around Thanksgiving because everyone's talking about it, and usually people have something pleasant to think about over Thanksgiving, some form of family or good food at least, or time off work. But my challenge to us, and I include myself in this as well, is to be thankful for challenging times as well, and that kind of ties into our growth mindset for December. So the times that are difficult or challenging are when we grow, and even though they're not the most fun as we go through them, that is how we grow, and that's what we're trying to encourage our learners, is to embrace challenges because we know their minds grow and their personalities grow. And so it's not quite December yet, but I just wanted to bring that up as we think about thankfulness, that our next monthly theme is we embrace challenges, and embracing challenges is part of a growth mindset. So we all have lots of challenges, and you all have challenges in your own lives that I don't know hardly anything about, but I hope that we can encourage each other to do that. And at least at work, we can tackle new things to help our learners. Let's embrace them with an open mindset and figure it out together. So I like this quote, and if you've probably used these in growth mindset PowerPoints and things like that anyway, but what we should really fear is not failure, but the heart that is no longer brave enough to take risks and embrace challenges. And there's lots of forms of that quote, but it is true. When we're complacent or not growing, that's really kind of worse than struggling.
There's nobody out there.
Yeah. Okay, so I have some dates to mark as this month will start to snowball. It's already going fast. But December 5th, which is next Tuesday, is checkpoint 3 already. I feel like literally we just did checkpoint 2, but maybe that's just me. So we will review the grading procedure and how far, updating those spreadsheets where you figure out their grades on next Monday, the 4th, but I just wanted to get that in your brain because I was having trouble getting it in my brain. So next Monday's meeting, we will review that. But I did also want to say that next week, and just FYI, I have SAP training Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday out in Latrobe. So I will not be here those days. I mean, I'll have my phone and everything, but just FYI. And I know that I'll be scarred for life. I'll be scarred for life now that once I learn about all those things that I really don't want to know about. But anyway. All right, some other dates to note. Having thought about Thanksgiving, the enrollees on Thanksgiving a little late, we kind of looked ahead at enrollment day. So we're actually not going to do an enrollment day on December 20th because that's setting them up to be gone for like 2 weeks after that. And then the last enrollment day will be April 25th, which is literally like 5 months away, actually, when you think about it. So we are not going to the end of the year. Correct. At least on paper, we're not going to the end of the year. I think, and Dina, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think if somebody push comes to shove, you can't really say no, but
right.
Right.
So if we have somebody that really, really wants to enroll after that date, we have to enroll them.
But in theory, we're going to close it off at the end of April so that we can get a grip in May.
Yes. Well, I've had several people ask me if we have a deadline on it.
There you go. We have a deadline now. Yep. And none on that Wednesday before Christmas break. All right. The next day to mark is Monday, January 2nd, when we come back from holiday break. Melinda's going to do a face-to-face staff meeting here, 9 to 10:30. So mark your calendar for that.
It's a Tuesday.
It's Tuesday? Oh, thanks. Sorry. I'll fix that. Right, because Monday the 1st is, my bad. All right. I'll fix that for the people that are. You have like a savant calendar. He just knows we have that Monday off. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that.
I looked at the book schedule.
Yeah.
No, Monday the 1st.
Right. So that's a correction. That is Tuesday the 2nd. We will be off on the 1st, so don't come on Monday. I'll fix that in the PowerPoint. And then this is a Monday, January 8th. That's probably because I copied the slide. Monday, January 8th, which is my husband's birthday, just FYI, and Elvis. He was always proud of that he's born on Elvis's birthday. I'm going to move you down to the corner, Dina. 9 to 3. So this is a clear your calendar training. We are all going to go to a SAS training, standards aligned system training at the IU Monday from 9 to 3.
Is that on 6th Avenue?
It is the main office. Yep. And more details on that, but just so that you have that on your calendar.
Should we put that on our calendar, or are we going to do an invite?
That's a good question. I don't have the specific details to send the invite yet, but I will when I get them. So maybe just put it on your mental calendar, or put it on your pencil in calendar.
Does that include Michelle and I?
No, full-time instructors.
I'm not here, so it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. You don't even care.
I don't care.
And instructors. So Barbara, that would probably not be you, and not you. Yeah. Instructors. Yeah. I know.
He's not going to be right the rest of the day. Huh?
So disappointed. Okay, so full-time instructors. All right, so I wanted to talk about some of the things that we've been doing this year, because you probably are feeling like, oh my word, we're doing a ton of new things, and we are. And those of you that went to Summit know that look fors is kind of a Summit phrase for things you're looking for. It's kind of crazy how they came up with that. But to me, they're kind of like things that we've been focusing on, and what do we look for to know that they're working or not working, or to implement them. So Melinda and Dean and I kind of sat down and kind of looked at, because we're doing so many things, I think this is kind of a way to kind of focus 1 month at a time at some of the specifics. So really September and October, we focused a lot on attendance. And for me, I think it's maybe finally like coming out to a system. Maybe Kathy, how about it? I don't know. We're getting there.
We're hoping.
It's kind of an ongoing thing.
Yes.
In October and November, we worked on how do we grade kids, and that's kind of an ongoing thing. But for the rest of the year, I kind of want to take a month at a time and focus on some of the other things that we've put in place, and just take a look at how they're working, what we need to do to tweak them or do them better, etc. So rather than focusing on everything all at once, we're going to kind of space it out over the year. So in December, we're going to talk about MAP skills, which we just did. We did 2 trainings in October on MAP growth, and then 2 trainings in November on MAP skills. And then we're going to talk about how to implement some of what we learned about MAP skills, so that we're using the data and using what we've purchased to help the learners.
So I'm sorry, when can we start using the skills?
I'll let you know in a second.
Oh, sorry.
Soon. Yeah. We have a plan for that. So yeah.
Okay.
So you can dabble around now. You can be dabbling around now, but we have kind of a plan to do it all together. So hang on to that thought. So January, we want to look at onboarding. February, we want to look at instructional launches. March, we want to look at ConnectU, like where it's been, how will it continue? And I do appreciate the fact that it's been tweaked. The schedule for ConnectU has been tweaked along the way as we realize, there's things we've already done, or there's things we need to add in. April and May, then we'll focus on check-ins, the learner check-ins in April and the coach check-ins in May. how are they going? How can we improve them? What worked? What didn't work? So that's kind of like our thoughts for the rest of the year. So that brings up the MAP skills follow-up plan. So this is a lot on one slide, I'm sorry, but I thought maybe you might want to print it. And Dina and I and Melinda worked on Tuesday and Wednesday to kind of come up with a plan on this. So I do have something for you. And don't panic. No panicking. Okay. This is MAPS data sets for you guys. So this is your starting point here. So that's Leslie's. Here's Cassie's. Sorry. This is from the fall, obviously, I'll be taking this fall. Barbara, I have 2 copies for you because Patrick, you're gonna help with Barbara's learner since you don't have one there. So, we have a copy of hers. And Chelsea gives you, Kylie gives you. It was semi-alphabetical, maybe, I don't know. Probably not. Probably not because Manny was there, sorry. Okay, so I have copies of this. So here's basically what we did. And Dina is kind enough to chime in on her day off there so that if I'm forgetting something, and we do have some time before we're going to implement it, but I wanted to at least run it through so we kind of know what's going on. So we looked at the fall MAPS data, the reports from the growth reports, and we started with the class report. And we looked at learners in the low and low average sectors, which are red and orange. We actually looked at reading and math because that's what they took. And we cross-referenced it with the red list learners that you all generated after checkpoint 1. And it's amazing, there's very similar names on a lot of these things. So, but math seemed to be the area with the most numbers of regular ed learners in the red and orange sectors. So we thought we'd start with math, using skills in the math section. Okay, so what you have, and I just have Barbara's on top, but so basically on the first page you have like the class report, so you can kind of see it's divided into red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Okay, so we just looked at the first 2 squares, or the first 2 sections, low and low average, and how many learners fell into those percentiles in the math scores. Now your reading scores are on here, but math is first. And then for most of you, Dina went through and highlighted, so on the class report with their names, the pink highlighted people are the active learners who fell in those percentiles. And basically low and low average goes up to about the 40th percentile, okay? And now do you remember, Dina, what RL stands for next to their names?
The red list. If they were on the red list, Kim marked them.
Right.
To see how many we had the same.
Yeah. I don't think I finished that, but it was pretty obvious that there are trends there. So if you don't have RL next to yours, I didn't get to that yet, but they're probably on your red list. Okay, any questions so far?
I believe I have a student on mine that's not mine.
Okay.
Yes, you do. I just realized that last night.
Okay.
Just so I'm
So
not-
no worries. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm not supposed to have this person.
No.
Right. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we've identified some learners who need some skills help, and we know what percentiles they fell into. Okay. So what the plan is for these identified learners, special ed learning guides are going to select skills in the MAP skills suite, or selections that relate to their IEP goals. That seems to make the most sense for starters. So if they don't have a math goal, then get with Dina to select some math goals for them. Regular ed learning guides for your list of learners, we're going to focus on math, and we're going to use a Connects U week to start implementing the skills, MAP skills, assigning them something, okay? So we're going to do that the week of Wednesday, December 13th through the next Tuesday, which I think is the 19th. So you're going to pick one area. So do you remember when we did the MAP skills training the last time? And it was fast. So I know that it was, I need to kind of think through it. But do you remember when she assigned us, we picked kind of like ghost learners, and she assigned us some tasks so that she could generate data. Okay.
Would there be a way to make a sheet? Just like the
Like
directions?
how
That's
to
actually
do
what I
that?
wrote in the comments. I said if there's like step-by-step instructions.
Right.
Things that she explained.
I took some screenshots as we were doing it. I think I had 3 or 4. I can send those to you guys. I know I took a screenshot of what it looks like when you log in, what it looks like when you're assigned a skills locator. And I think I have one more screenshot. I forgot to take one after you finish a skills locator, but at least I had some screenshots to start us out, so to see what they look like.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and I would encourage you this. So we have plenty of time. Like we still have December 4th staff meeting and December 11th staff meeting before it actually happens. But I would encourage you to mess around in there and see if you can follow your handout and remind yourself like what has to happen for it to work. Because we were kind of messing around with that Tuesday and Wednesday after Monday's training, and she did go quickly. But you can get to those places. So give that a shot. So we're going to assign a skills locator to each learner on your list, and that basically is the pre-assessment, and that creates that heat map. She called it a heat map, which we don't have a copy of it here, but it had it created like red and blue squares, right? I should have given you a screenshot here. I'll do that for next week. Red and blue squares, and NW meant needs work. So that's how you're going to pick a needs work area skill, and then the learner will do work in their ConnectU as a ConnectU assignment on Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So we'll kind of change up how ConnectU works that week. And then on Tuesday, the learner would take the mastery check in that area that you've selected. And then we're just going to see what happens, how that worked, what didn't work. Are we able to get them to do it? Or is it too hard, too easy? We'll just kind of assess how that works. And I know it sounds a little unclear at this point, but I think that we need to just try it and see what happens. So Heather, I think you brought up a good point. It wasn't a super clear process. So with Dina's screenshots, and I would encourage you, as I did, to get in there and kind of mess around and see if you can get a flow in your head of what that's going to look like, so that if we're going to explain it to them and ConnectU, we want to make sure that we understand it so that we can so it's clear to us before we make it clear to them. Dina, am I missing anything on that?
I don't think so. I think if I send the screenshots, that might help refresh your memory as to what it looked like.
Right. In the we tried going back in as the dummy learners. No offense, the fake names that she gave us, but there's no those. What you remember? She said those wipe every night, so there's no data left to try again. So because I wanted to just do it one more time to try to get the steps down. But let's see if we can get a process together in our minds, and maybe with Dina's screenshots on a document for next, so we can look at it next Monday. And so again, we have the 4th and the 11th to get it clear in our heads before we try to launch it. But I think that it's super important to give it a shot, like I said, and use the data that we have, because then we can actually see before we know it, it's going to be time to give the winter map test. And how are we going to know if we've helped them grow? Hopefully they're growing and they show growth in their RIT scores. But if we can actually use the skills piece, we can hopefully increase their growth. So any other questions at this point? That will take some thinking through, I think. All right. All right, next thing is Tuesdays for new learners. Definitely going better, and I think it continues to improve each week. And this is just an old slide, but reminder that as learners finish up onboarding and prepare to begin their classes, you need to ensure that at least 2 things are happening. your check-in on the Tuesday after enrollment should include Dina to go over their schedule and make sure their schedule's all set. And then make sure that they are given a document with their classes in order with links to the Google Classrooms and the platform, so it's very clear what they should do. And I think we keep learning each week in Learning Lab that these kids are not as clear on what to do as we think they are, or even how to click certain places. So don't assume that they're going to be even, and as great as the cardstock, like what do I do now thing is, don't assume that they know how to use that based on your talking to them a week prior to that. So just don't assume. And then this week's learner, or last week's learner, we just wound up with the one for regular ed, right? Was that your little girl, Cassie?
Yeah.
She'll be on a little bit of a different schedule, just with the holiday, but
Yeah, I mean, I think, she's ready to go, and honestly, we're as soon as we get her in there.
yeah,
she'll be
okay. So when do you think is reasonable to start her? Do we want to start her just on Wednesday again, or in Odyssey Wear, or yeah? Are you checking in with her today? Third. Yeah, third. Yeah. So, yeah.
I sent you a ticket.
Okay. Yeah. She was pretty gung ho and solid. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the other two were open campus. So
Can I finish the SLP onboarding and invited everybody in if they want to take a look first to put it in order? And Leslie even recommended like moving it, putting it in order. So we didn't have them scroll down to
Oh,
day
great.
one. I stacked it day 1 through 6. And then I think we touched upon everything that we feel our SLP kids are confused by. There's a couple different videos explaining, breaking it down into parts. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, no kids are assigned to it yet, but
There's 2 different onboarding.
there's not one for Odyssey Wear yet, but the SLP one
has a specific
There's still
onboarding.
regular onboarding that we were normally doing, and then we get an SLP for equipment.
Yeah. Do we want to
But
go?
do they still have to do? I didn't put anything in there about own it. So
Oh,
that would
right.
need to be
Yeah.
in there as well.
We should probably add that, just so they're not looking we don't want them to look two places for
Yes.
onboarding, that's for sure. Okay. And the other thing is, do we want to use that as a talking point at the Summit Learning Lab? Like, would that be overkill to review that with everyone that comes, or is that past information? I'm just wondering.
It's just breaking it up into like each screen. What
Yeah.
is the week screen for? What is the year?
What we also could do is get kind of like use it as a talking point as if we want their feedback too. But it would be a way to kind of review for them, but also kind of, so.
Because they could give us insight on what they feel.
Right.
Yeah, and then I went
Yeah.
into a focus area, into a project, and kind of explained.
Oh, that's
how to
awesome.
navigate.
Kim, can I share something?
Yeah.
So another thing that we realized is some of our learners have especially our new learners, have no idea what Canvas is or how to get there, even though when we're with them in enrollment, we show them. So I had a learner who is okay at technology. I mean, fair enough, okay. But boy, she didn't know that if the words are blue and they're underlined, that's a live link. So when I was walking her through, so maybe we need to also focus on making sure that we get them in there and get their class started, because I was surprised.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know about anything in Canvas until last week. I think we had a little bit of a cluster with phys ed and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
beginning, and I let it. Yeah, I was unaware that Dylan even had it, and then he told me. So yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
that
definitely a
was a lapse
glitch
on
this
our
year.
part, too.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
Yeah.
it's sort of virtual inside Canvas.
Yeah.
Which is really, yeah.
Extremely hard to do.
yeah. So I do have, Patty and I are going to meet this week and just, and she'll listen to this, so it's not a surprise to her. So we're going to talk about, is there a way to streamline it, or at least get that more clear for some of the learners, because they were having trouble. So
And same with OWA. I took that same learner and made sure that she could get started.
yeah,
I don't think it's enough just to say, okay, here it is, here's how you log in. Because if they don't have the skills and they've never been in an online, they don't
Yeah.
even know, because it can say start here, but they're just not sure
Right.
what to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah, for sure. That's a takeaway even this far into the year is don't assume that because they're probably going to say, yeah, I get it. You know,
right.
what teenager is going to admit in front of you, I don't understand this. So
I have
great
a question
thoughts.
about
Mhm.
step number 2.
Mhm.
Is there somebody already made a template that we can just plug their classes in? Is this the schedule that's on IC? Please make a document with learners' classes listed in order.
I can
Is it-
share my template.
So you have a template
I
that,
can
and it
share
already
it,
has
yes.
the links there, so they're all using the same kind of thing.
Right, but you'll need to move them for whatever.
Yeah.
Right,
for
to match their
Saturday or
schedule,
whatever, but
yeah.
Yes.
I just want to know if there's like a master
Yes.
template for something
Sure.
that has all these
Yep.
links,
Mhm.
the Canvas.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great.
You're welcome.
And you're right, Leslie, you know, use their schedule in IC. That's so, and I think that's the easiest way to explain it is if they were in for that explanation. Period 1, period 2,
Yes.
this is what, you know. And then that you also is a talking point, oops, sorry. I was with my family this weekend. The jersey's coming out. A talking point about attendance, because attendance, you know, some of them, God bless them, we have some real hypersensitive learners looking at their attendance. If there's one A in a period, they're like, oh, I have an absence. You know, so explain again that, you know, attendance is cumulative with periods. And if you miss a period, that's okay, you know, one period, but it is related to their schedule, even though they're asynchronous and off the schedule. So good point. Great.
You train your coaches to go into IC to look at things? I have not been training people to go into Infinite Campus. I tell them that's where they are. I'll show them in a check-in, but should we train them that they should be able to go as a parent and go into IC so there's no surprises or not?
Well, that's in the tech overview. Do they have to request a login, Brandon, or do they get that automatically? The parents.
I don't know why they just don't use the kids,
Right.
because I thought that's a lot of counseling.
Yeah, I know that's a choice on the ticket is to request a parent login, right?
Well, that
But-
was mostly just for like Odyssey Wear,
okay.
for them to be able to view the grades in there, but
So we show them in on orientation enrollment day. We show them where that is, but you're right, it's probably not being followed up on. So. Right, that's true. Yeah. So that might be a good review point in the
My
check-in.
parents and coaches find it helpful to look in Odyssey where
Mhm.
you have an account.
Right.
So they're
Yeah.
not really using their own kids' account, you know, they just have, and they just go in, and then if they have a
There's
question.
a
they let me
reluctance
know.
from parents to use their kids' account. Have you found that? They don't know it, they don't really want to know it, they don't.
Right.
They-
So
I'm
the Odyssey Wear
surprised.
account that I recommend is their own, the parents own. And they use it, and that way that creates a talking point discussion, you know.
Yeah.
There's a Guardian account in Odyssey Wear Academy now too.
Oh, okay.
The new update.
Oh.
Yeah, and I usually at enrollment always say, get in their business. It's your job to be in their business. You know, like
Yeah.
don't be sorry, like they're your kid and this is their school. Like you should log in and so,
you know what they're doing.
that's just me. You
I
know,
just
I kind of
love to
err on the
limit
side of
that excuse
invasiveness, but
Well, they told me.
yeah, no. Yeah, and Patrick, you use that phrase, keep honest people honest. I think that's a good, it doesn't imply that you don't trust them. It's just wise. Like, so I guess maybe, I don't know, is that what parents think? Like, oh, I'm implying that I don't trust my kid if I log in and check, or?
I usually tell them, trust but verify.
Yeah.
You know, just, I mean, it's okay to monitor and verify that you're on the same page. You know, I try to put it positive
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
sure that you're seeing what they're seeing and everything is good.
Oh, my own kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Infinite Campus. I'm a Nazi when I come into Infinite Campus to see what's going on with my kid because they call me first and it's missing, something's missing. The teacher doesn't put a grade in, and you get an
Just
email.
wait till they
that's
get to
missing.
college.
And you can't check and they won't talk to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you're paying the bill.
They had a D or two from you.
All right, anyway, Any more questions on that? We should move on. All right, great job on the pay survey. So thank you so much to Brandon, Heather, Barbara, Leslie, and Cassie, who administered the pay survey to their respective grades, 12, 10, 8, and 6 respectively. And they were able to pilot the Go Guardian teacher feature to monitor screens, or at least lock them out while they did that. So I think we learned some stuff about that, and we appreciate that. And the PAYS survey learning guide with the highest % participation. Any guesses on that? That would be Barbara. Yes, she had 85% participation. So, although Leslie, I didn't hear back from you, so I'm assuming did you tell me what you had? Was it more than 85?
No.
Okay.
50, 50.
Okay, yeah. And Cassie, I was thinking really you should have 3 out of 4 because you're 1 opted out, so that doesn't count, right? So really 3 for us. But good job. All right, so just a reminder for SLP instructors, we are having that special Summit Learning Lab on a Wednesday afternoon on December 13th. So spread the word, and we can really spend some concentrated time with them working in the platform. Okay, so the last thing is you all got fish books. I think at they came in and were distributed at Family Engagement Night. So I wanted to create an assignment for that, but I also did want to show you something related to that. So I'm not sure if, you know, it's related or based on a fish market in Seattle. This just give you a little flavor of what that's like. Whoops. Yeah. So I think this is a time-lapse trip to Seattle here. So that's the Pike Place Fish Company.
St. Mary's, Alaska. This is Francis Beans from St. Mary's, Alaska. He's a Yupik Eskimo. He was on the Yukon River. He's my Elook. The name of our little fishery is Elook Fisheries. We've been, we started our direct marketing last year, and we're hoping to be able to sell Yukon Kings fresh, high quality to Pike's Place Market. Best 2 salmon in the world.
Have you seen this one? Yeah. I don't know if this is like the official clip or not, but.
Cool, bro. So what else you doing here?
Representing this crab. Eat that whenever I want.
How much a pound?
$9.
$9? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm a little bit too down.
All right, so you get the general idea. Yeah, I didn't watch it to the end, but very loud, very fun, apparently. So the assignment for next Monday is to read the foreword, and it's sort of, they're not really chapters, but the first section is called Seattle Monday Morning, and it does describe the fish market, basically up to page 21. And then I'll put a question in the Google Classroom due on the 4th, and then we'll discuss it next week. So.
We already read it. Are we still doing it? We read this last year.
Yeah, just skim over it, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Did you redo the whole thing, or
Yeah,
okay?
We did a project.
Okay. Yep. So I would skim it and reread it just to refresh. And thanks, and hope you have a great Monday. Any other questions or things that I didn't think of for this week? All right, have a good day. Bye, Dina.
Bye.